they can make a successful Last of Us show, they need to make a Red Dead one, bro.
Dude, Red Dead would be
Could
so
you
good.
imagine?
They're making a God of War show. If they're making a God of War, just give me Red Dead, honestly.
Just give me Red Dead.
I'm gonna stop touching things. I'm here. I'm with you now. I'm good. I'm with the... Yeah.
I went to go see Quantum Mania opening night. By the way, movie was not good enough to have my laptop stolen.
I was almost in tears.
You were I was in tears. I don't care, bro.
I was so sad. Like,
that was
him saying goodbye to the horse, being like, "You really served me well. Thank you."
If you get that ending.
If you get that ending, I know, I know.
Dude, that's the
God,
thing. See, that's the thing about the game.
It's such a good game.
Yeah. Do you think Jesus and/or the disciples ever smoked weed? Have you ever watched like any of those like gory horror movies where like cannibalism type stuff? And have you ever wondered how messed up it is that tribes and stuff could feed, you know, like humans or survivors in those, like other people, and not tell them?
Oh, I mean, I don't watch that all that often, actually.
Oh, okay.
But I can take your word for it.
Could you just imagine how insane that would be? Like, they'd just be like, "Oh, ha ha ha, you're eating your friend," or some, you know, like some crazy stuff. Anyways, welcome back to the Woodsmen Podcast.
Welcome back.
We're your hosts, Brent Murphy
and Joey Rucker. I'm sorry, everybody. It's a real boof setup today, and I'm trying to make sure everything's working properly, and now I can't find the audio recorder. It's on. It's working. I just can't find it.
Well,
let them know.
I mean, the reason why we have a boof setup.
Yeah. Okay,
yes. Okay, thanks for asking that question, guys. The reason why we have a boof setup is...
we're good. All right. I'm going to stop touching things. I'm here. I'm with you now. I'm good. I'm with the... Yeah. Welcome to the Woodsmen Podcast, everybody.
So the reason why we have a booth setup.
Yeah.
My laptop unfortunately got stolen.
That is something that happened.
And my headphones and all 9 of my XLRs, which that is just inconvenient, as one might realize when having to deal with cables.
You want to walk them through the story? You want to tell them what happened?
Yeah.
From your perspective?
I went to go see Quantum Mania opening night. By the way, movie was not good enough to have my laptop stolen. That's
the criteria.
Like, if it was Endgame, I would be a little less bummed.
Yeah.
You know? But, yeah, opening night with my girlfriend. Walked back to the car. I was driving my mom's car, by the way. She has a nice car. No one ever breaks into a 04 Tacoma.
No, never.
You know, so, yeah. Of course, it was the nice car. And they not only broke one window, but they broke 2 windows. Because why...
Yeah,
Because why not
weird.
just break the front window and unlock the car, you know?
Maybe they thought about that too late. Maybe they broke the back window and were like, oh, well, we could have just...
Yeah, but like at that point, they could have just reached in and unlocked the front door.
I mean, yeah, but think about the area. The people who broke into your car probably weren't like normal thinking people. They were probably...
That's true.
Some drunk fool or some homeless
person. I just think it's funny that someone stole a Mac knowing that, like, I'm just going to lock it. And it's going to be useless. Like, they just stole a brand new Mac to just destroy it by piecing it out, you know?
Which, not only do we have a new setup, but that is another update for you guys.
That means
with that
every
whole thing.
Single episode
every episode we've recorded so far is currently, except for the first 2,
is possibly gone.
Possibly gone until he can get a new laptop and see if it recovered to the cloud. But
yeah, we're going to hope Apple did me a solid and... clouded that.
But in case it didn't, welcome to the 3rd episode of this would have been like episode 9 or something. 9.
Which really sucks because episode 8 we had figured out the buzzing issue.
Oh yeah.
The background
yeah.
noise. And we eliminated the background noise for that, like, what would have been the 9th episode, and which this episode.
Mm-hmm. Was the last episode the Valentine's, or was that a different one?
I believe so.
Wow.
I think it's been because Quantum Mania was the 17th, I believe, or 16th, because I think I saw it on Thursday, so the actual opening night. So whatever date that was.
Mm-hmm.
And Valentine's Day was the 14th. So yeah, it was the Valentine's Day episode. Man, that was actually a pretty good episode.
I enjoyed it.
Was
we kind of started trailing off a little bit at the end, but for the most part, we talked about like the history of Saint Valentine, depending on which one you choose.
What is this going to be, the reminiscing podcast episode?
We have to talk about all the podcasts. So, okay, 411 cases.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. All right, so Bigfoot, got it.
Bigfoot, right. He's real. Aliens.
Terry Lovelace.
Abducted. There's been a whole bunch of. There was that guy on the mountain.
Yeah, the guy from TikTok.
I think
he's still missing.
What else?
That's an
mountains.
Update.
We really like mountains. That was
Joey took a big tumble down the mountain.
I fell down the mountain real bad. Almost hurt my arm. Or no, I did hurt my arm.
Almost, dude. You were messed up for a minute.
My pant leg was completely ripped off.
Joey looked like a survivor.
Yeah, dude. We talked about your girl a little bit on the Valentine's, how you guys are doing.
We did.
That was, yeah. Was there any
update, actually?
Update, really?
She herself went back and finished episode 3 of Star Wars.
By herself,
really? Because she fell asleep in the middle of it here. And
dude,
she went back and watched it.
You know what's crazy about that? You're going to have to do all this work now to convert her into a Star Wars person, which by the sound of it, it's working.
Yeah.
But I have learned recently that I'm going to have to convert my brother. Jonathan
really
does not like Star Wars.
No way.
He's seen the first episode, and he has seen a little bit of the second, but he got bored of the second and stopped watching it. And so,
I mean, it's kind of understandable.
The second one is a bit.
The second one is a little
paced.
Yeah.
But there's also some good moments
Annie
in that.
and Padme got married in the second one.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think I'm gonna have to
I really want to go there.
Figure out a way to do that. The actual place.
Yeah, apparently it's like in.
Where's it located?
I think it's in Italy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dude, can you imagine? Oh my God, could you imagine doing?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. By the way,
can you imagine doing a podcast episode across the country somewhere, like in an actual
like travel?
Like we talk so much stuff about. We could do an episode in the woods. We could do an episode in a studio. But could you imagine just like going to like Italy? And
could you imagine going to like every state's cryptid?
Oh my God, doing an episode all across the country.
Like going to like spots where they were like located and stuff, and having like a part of the podcast where we just talk about the cryptid and the history.
That would be a cool series.
That would be sick.
That's what we got to do.
That's what the Patreon's going to be for.
Series,
that's what the Patreon's going to be for. All those proceeds are going to go to.
And that'll be fun to just do with you. I would love to travel the country with you.
I would love it, bro.
What was it? No, it was Isaac, right? He went across the country.
We need to van convert something so then we can just do it out of a van. Yeah.
That would be cool. No, because didn't Isaac go across the country for his graduation of high school with his mom and
to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and he saw a whole bunch of stuff across the way. It would be cool, like, just going to different states and seeing, like, not only cryptids, but, like, anything that is interesting about that state. Museums, parks, national parks. I mean, that would be cool.
Investigate all the 411.
Dude, that would be so much fun, man.
So are there feral people out here? Yes or no? Stop like a park ranger or something. Like, we can't discuss that information.
It's really weird, man. Do you have this like sense right now that it's like weird doing it again? Like, I don't know if it's just me, but the fact that we're doing it, even though janky setup or not, we haven't done it in a minute because of that incident. And so now trying to get back into talking and like fluidity and like, it's so weird doing it again. And we didn't even do it that long.
I think it's funnier because we haven't uploaded anything, so it's like to us it's been forever, but like and anyone who watches this later, they're gonna be like, what?
It'll be worth it, man. The bulk upload, it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it.
And especially so with this setup, the good thing is that even if we don't get the computer for a little while, worst case scenario, we can still upload videos, and that's a benefit. But no, it feels like so long. There's so much that has happened. Almost dropped something. You know what did happen since the last episode? California, SoCal.
Oh my gosh.
Actually had the craziest storm it has ever seen in over a decade, maybe more.
Bro, we had snow.
Snow, like actual snow. And maybe that's not weird to viewers, depending on where you live. But
the last time we had snow was 16 years ago.
Yeah, we were young,
that's
fools,
crazy.
bro. And I can't believe, and it was a lot. It actually was piling up a couple inches. And the last time it snowed here 16-ish years ago, it didn't even do that.
No.
It was here for 10 minutes, and then it was gone.
Yeah, it was more like just ice.
Yeah.
Falling from the sky.
And that's what I thought it was going to be.
No, this was it lasted for hours.
Hours. And oh my God, it was so cool.
And that was, what's crazy? That's the first time I've ever seen snowfall.
Really?
Ever.
Actually.
Ever.
I saw the snow fall that 16-ish years ago. I remember seeing it, but it wasn't real. Again,
that
it's
wasn't
like you
real
said,
snow,
it was ice. It once it hit, it melted. So it wasn't these were the snowflakes
real.
were
it was real.
an inch big. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Literally that
an
type.
Inch, probably
It was. I saw some fool that was
big?
this big.
That's big.
At one point, they were mainly these kind of suckers. But
Couple
I saw a big
centimeters.
one. I saw a big one, and oh God, I felt like a child.
I literally felt like
Alex
a child.
was out there making snowman.
I went out there in the backyard. And
I took Moose out for a walk with my dad in Phoenix, and we went out, the park down the road from my house with the little up curve hill.
Yes.
We went up that hill, again, now entirely covered in snow, and what we didn't, because we're so not used to snow now, we didn't realize going back down the real steep hill in snow is not the safest action,
because it goes straight into the street.
And so Moose sees this other dog, and he goes crazy trying to run after him, and he's so strong, he pulled me and I fell down, and I swear to God, he starts pulling me on my ass down the hill of snow.
What?
It was so funny, bro.
That's
great. I'm happy with what we had. I actually don't think we need. Do you think where would you want to live when it comes to weather conditions? Do you think you'd want snow as a seasonal thing? I definitely wouldn't want it all year. Yeah?
Yes.
What kind of snow though? Because the people up the hill, they had it bad.
I want that snow.
You want
No.
8 feet of snow?
No.
I don't think so. Not for me.
I mean,
my cheat sheet.
when you can't get out of your house, then that's a little too much.
Yeah, Greg Donnelly's dad. I don't know if I can say names, so I guess I'll bleep it. But
Tim Donnelly, he's a politician.
Yeah, Tim. Yeah. He was posting stuff all over his Facebook page about his house, and I mean, his car covered, can't even see the car, doorways and windows covered.
Yeah, I follow Greg's brother. I think I can't remember his name, but he has a big old Jeep, one of those super tricked out Jeeps. And he was posting videos of him just tearing through that snow, bro.
It's insane.
Tearing through 5 to 6 feet of snow. That man is a menace.
We don't know how hard it is, honestly.
No.
Having to drive in chains.
Having to shovel out your driveway, bro. What?
Yeah.
I don't know where I would want to live weather condition wise, mainly because I've only been out of the state twice. And I've only been to the same 2 states.
I've always said that I'd be down for Idaho because I know you like the beaches, but for me, I could live with lakes, but Idaho has great weather.
You'd have to have a boat for a lake, bro.
True. I'd probably just rent a jet ski, honestly.
Rent a jet ski?
Not rent, buy a jet ski. Why did I say rent?
I mean, you could.
I could, but it would be way...
If you're going to be out there
all the time.
If I'm going to live
there, yeah, I should just get a jet ski. But no, I'd love to live in a condition like that. But was it you or was it Isaac? Somebody told me recently that Idaho and Colorado have weed restrictions there, don't they?
Yeah, somewhere does.
I think Idaho does, from what I heard. Which,
I don't think Colorado does. I think they're pretty chill.
Are they? I know it was Idaho and somewhere else, but I can't for the life of me remember where it was. Dude, and I don't. It's not that I need to smoke all the time, but the occasional
Yeah,
Puff puff is a nice thing to have.
dude, could you imagine getting arrested over like $20 worth of weed, bro?
Imagine Sage. I mean, he lives in Texas, and they're real strict there, aren't they?
At least where he's at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There could be certain parts of Texas, but...
Although people have been smoking and doing drugs since the dawn of time. I mean, like...
Yeah. Well, especially stuff like weed and shrooms. It's like because it's like natural. It's like natural drugs, not like making drugs out of your bathtub.
I think think weed, it already is showing, but weed itself is like marijuana used to just be like primarily only for medical use. And then it's slowly been adapted to like being recreational and, you know, not illegal anymore. And it's gotten to the point where like you see a dispensary everywhere. And so I almost wonder in a couple years, like maybe a decade from now, where it'll even be then. Because I feel like weed has had a very similar stance with technology where it's just very fast, getting better and better. Like
it's a very big uprising.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Think of how much you get taxed at a dispensary. Think of all the tax. The California weed tax. Where do you think the weed tax is going? The government is profiting off of weed being legal.
That's true.
So it'll probably get to a point where, because here's the thing, bro, like with drugs and everything, it'll never stop. Like drugs will never, like everything, it'll never stop because it'll never stop having value, you know? So, I mean, there's already stances on trying to make shrooms and everything.
I've heard that, yeah.
A lot more accessible and everything. I think it's personally a good thing because at least with like things like I feel like marijuana and shrooms, those are still pretty like safe. Those are like safe. Yeah. So I think maybe having things be legal and like accessible in dispensaries are probably a good thing.
Because it goes
rather than trying to get it off the street, not knowing like, all right, this is safe.
It goes unsaid that people, no matter if it's easy to get or hard, people are going to overdo it once in a while. There are going to be people who abuse their, ability.
Because just some people can't handle.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that just because a couple tweaks out there can't, be responsible for their actions, doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad thing for everyone else who can.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people claim like the gateway drug. Weed's the gateway drug.
I don't completely agree with that.
I don't either. Mainly because you can't be saying that and then out here drinking. Yeah. Like drinking kills people.
That's a whole topic I could talk about. Like comparing weed to drinking.
Drinking's killed people. I don't know the statistics on people dying from a weed-related incident. Yeah. Like I don't, and obviously the statistic has to be low if it's not being shoved down your throat like the drinking statistics are. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a very different it's a very different thing, and I don't see why people treat the two very different.
No,
people in churches and stuff, I've noticed they'll call out smoking weed way before they'll call out drinking and stuff like that, but it's said in the Bible not to drink to get drunk.
Does the Bible talk? I actually don't know. Does it talk about anything related to drugs or plant?
I think it's like altering your state of mind or whatever, maybe, but I don't think there is anything in the Bible saying anything about like marijuana and all that kind of stuff. Like, but I don't know, I'm just not cultured in that because I don't take the time to search that out. But there's way more stuff in the Bible about,
alcohol related.
Yeah.
And don't drink to get drunk.
So it's like it's very weird.
But I know I have such a hard stance on that topic alone. Like, it's like you said, there's such a negative outlook on marijuana these days, and what it can do to you, your decision making, your consciousness, and it's just like most of the people who say that also drink alcohol. It's like you said, it's such a two-way street because though I don't even know how to describe it, because it's like you said, there is so much more statistical data on how alcohol has ruined people's lives, drunk driving incidents. Not to say that driving with weed is better, but like,
Yeah.
people,
You're more coherent. You're way more coherent.
liver damage,
I feel
dying.
like.
I mean, you can't. What's the word? Overdose on marijuana.
Yeah, no,
It's
you
never
would
happened.
have to have such a massive amount of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no
I
idea. Did
hate
you actually look up?
I was kind of seeing if there was any, like, because there's drunk drivers are involved in 25% of motor vehicle fatalities, and many accidents involve drivers who test positive for cannabis. Cannabis and alcohol actually impair several. I was trying to see if there was like an actual like differentiation. Is that the word?
Like a drunk driving versus
Not just
high
driving, but I was trying to
or-
see like.
You also have to look at it for California as well,
That's true.
because it's gonna be widely different. You know, a statistic for drunk driving would be significantly higher in Texas versus weed, because weed's illegal in Texas.
No, that's true.
So you would have to look it up for California.
Well, if I can find something, I'll inform.
Damn, we really
everybody,
should
but-
have. We should have looked.
Well, I didn't know we were
This
going
is
to
a
be
good-
talking
yeah,
about
this is
drugs
a
and
good-
alcohol,
good
but
topic.
actually, I mean, it is something that we both have
I
a
think
lot of experience in
we've
now.
wrestled with a lot because we've been in church.
Do
We've had those talks
Mhm.
and everything. And
Do you consider your walk with alcohol and drugs as sort of eras? Like where, like there was the beginning era, you didn't know what you were doing it because it was fun, you
the
wanted to
thing
be
do.
accepted by everybody. Then there's like the era where you get used to it, so you start taking it too far.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I've seen.
what kind of eras would you say you've lived through with drugs and alcohol? If you don't mind talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, sad was a big one. Sadder.
Yeah.
The big sad.
I've hit it too.
Yeah, I think when you're not, I could give the the Christian answer and be like, when you feel lost or you feel sad, you should be going to Jesus first or whatever, type of thing.
Sure.
I don't really,
Yeah.
But when you're in the moment, that is like way easier said than done, especially when you're like a teenager right out of school. So obviously when I hit my big sad era, I did not do that. So I just put it into drinking and partying with a lot of just people I didn't really know. So it was like, all right, whatever. I can do whatever because these people don't know me, type of thing. Like who's going to judge me when I don't know any of these people, type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of fueled me just continuing the process, and just going down just a path that was not right for me. And one day the sad era just ended. I can't, it's so weird.
Do you
know
associate it with anything?
well, I mean, I always have struggled with like my depression and stuff like that, but I think after the whole Jordan thing happened, and just how my family life was going at the time, because when that happened was when like Sean left and like all that kind of stuff just mixed together was not a good time. And then you and Isaac were gone. So then it was like, oh my God, I have like no one here. I'm going to a college where I know nobody. I'm not at school long enough to make friends.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just showing up in a class, listening to a professor talk. I don't even know what he's talking about, type of thing. And then I'm going home and it's like, all right, I guess it's time to drink. Realistically, that was kind of how it was. And then,
No, I feel that.
like,
I
all right,
understand.
let's drink while I'm at home. And then if there's a party, then go out and party. And then try and maintain a normal life and social life while doing that.
I think I actually had a similar era to that, but with weed.
The sad era. Yeah.
Because it was a mix of things. It wasn't like life was terrible, but it was like life was hard, and so you get in your own head, and you get to this point where you're like, am I actually like worth it? Am I actually going to be able to get through this? And if I don't get through it, does that even matter?
Yeah.
And I feel like when that last semester, we've discussed it on the podcast, but that last semester where I failed, it was really hard because I didn't have the motivation to get up, which not having the motivation to get up and go to class makes classes harder, makes struggles with family life and social life, and your grades start slipping, and that's just a whole mental game in and of itself. And I feel like I was just really starting to hate myself during that time. But then, because I would hate myself, rather than figure out why or figure out how to fix it, it was easier to just smoke and kind of let your mind drift, I guess. And drifting was probably why I got so addicted to it that semester, was because I was able to sleep. I couldn't sleep. That was another thing. Sleep that's a whole other topic too, is like the amount of sleep you lose or gain because you're forcing it. You know, it's like, God, I would ignore phone calls and texts from people. I was I wasn't being a great friend. I wasn't being a great son. It wasn't. I felt that. And man, it was just, and because of all that, again, it's like you said, it's like I said, you get in your own head and you start to really doubt yourself and hate yourself. And it's just, and I feel like once I not realized, it was when I went back that second time to redo that semester where I just told myself, okay, I'm still gonna smoke. I'm not gonna lie about that, but I'm not gonna overdo it this time. If I need to get something done, I'm putting it away, and I'm just gonna get this done. And that's what I did.
That's
and
good.
I still had a couple falls here and there, but doing that kind of proved to me that it really is a mental game. You gotta be right with yourself, and that way you can still do it recreationally, alcohol or drugs.
Yeah.
If you can't be alone with yourself sober, I feel like you shouldn't be drinking or smoking.
Yeah.
Or at least to a degree.
Yeah. No, and I've actually been on I was getting to the level where I was like, oh yeah, I can't not have the weed with me, or like I can't not walk into a store without ripping it before I walk in, type of thing. So I definitely feel you on that. I think the mental game is so crazy, because we tell ourselves we can't, like, do it, or like we can't live without it, or it really is. You really almost do develop a sickness when you get so dependent on it.
It's really hard to tell.
It's like, oh my gosh, like, I haven't had it in like 3 days. What am I gonna do? And you just like start straight tweaking out, And
I didn't realize that, because when you're doing it, you everyone's the same. You don't think you have a problem when you do,
until you haven't been on it.
Yeah,
and then you realize, like,
man,
ooh,
I can't think straight. I'm overthinking. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I'm angry. You're at all these emotions, and it's like, oh, this is what going through that feels like. You actually have to be honest with yourself. By the way, speaking of all this alcohol and marijuana stuff, I found something on one of the websites for what we were talking about.
Oh, for the
fatality stuff.
Yeah.
When people consume too much alcohol, it can be fatal. The CDC reports that nearly 88,000 alcohol-related overdose deaths occur each year. Binge drinking accounted for about half of these deaths. In comparison, the number of deaths caused by marijuana is almost zero. A study found that a fatal dose of TCH, isn't it THC?
TCH?
Is it?
Probably. I don't know.
The potent chemical in marijuana would be between 15 and 70 grams. To give you an idea of how much marijuana that is, consider a typical joint contains about half a gram of marijuana. That means that if you would have to smoke between 238 to 1,113 joints in a day to overdose on marijuana. That's insane.
What?
And that's my point, man. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
It's just people have such a stigma over it. But I feel like it all depends on the person and the way they use it and their mindset about it, I guess.
Dude, can I ask you a funny but serious question?
Sure.
Do you think Jesus and or the disciples ever smoked weed or did shrooms or something.
Or the equivalent to that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. I mean, because obviously, you know, the first argument, right, is that Jesus drank wine. So obviously, if he was able to drink, could he smoke as long as it didn't affect his decision making and his mind and his soul? The problem is I feel like I just don't know what they would have had back then. I mean, obviously, marijuana and all that existed.
Yeah.
But it's like you also said, in the Bible they don't talk about it a lot, so I don't know if there's a reason for it not talking about it, or if it's just that maybe it wasn't. They probably were just eating plants that, like, every now and again they were like, oh God, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, because I've always thought about that, because it's like, I mean, back then you were using herbs and like spices and plants and all that kind of stuff for everything, like medical healing and all that kind of stuff. Like, was it even considered a bad thing like that? Because I feel like people have just given it a negative thing.
Back
but, like,
then, it probably wasn't
as
negative.
Like,
it was probably just like.
Well, because it also depends on who you ask. Because I know a lot of people who don't see it as a negative, but then
true. But I feel like the overall stigma is that it's bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if it was back then, it was probably just something that they
maybe used to sleep.
They probably did. I feel like they probably. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. There could have been addicts back then too. But I feel like for the most part, if I was to make my own theory, it would be that people probably used it for medical purposes, sleeping, headaches, you know, pain relievers, sleep, like you said. But
basically what you would be using it for if you had a medical card.
And there probably was a few suckers out there who like could get their hands on it. But again, it's like, how often can you get your hands on that stuff back then? It's a little harder than it is now.
And like back then you were more focused on like, I need to survive.
Yeah, I have to take care of my family.
Like,
I have to.
Yeah, like I don't know. But then again, that goes into previous podcasts where we've talked about. Ooh, sorry.
You're good.
Where we've talked about like the difference in what we value now versus like, you know, I value the guy who is out here building his own house and caring for his family versus like, who has the most stock in, you know, Apple or something, you know, like it's just a completely different value system back then.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just always wondered that. I've wondered if the disciples were like, hey, yo, you want to take some mushrooms or something? Like, I don't know. Like,
mushrooms probably were very much like, I would bet you that mushrooms were a lot more common then than marijuana was.
Yeah,
or something like marijuana.
I mean, growing mushrooms to eat, and then something were to happen, and it just like.
Although, do you think some of them were just like, oh, that was a bad mushroom?
Yeah,
I got to get better ones.
Maybe,
like, maybe they were just like, oh, I think I just poisoned myself last night. You know?
Yeah, they probably thought. Like, you know,
because I wonder if they had
like
that
a Christmas
understanding
Carol,
of it, you know?
You know, like how in A Christmas Carol, he's like, it's just a piece of undigested beef or something that's making this fool see some ghosts. It's like that. Like, damn,
they probably did think that.
Pretty crazy mushroom, bro. Like, what?
Yeah, if someone like Ebenezer Scrooge, I know he's not real, but in that time era would have thought something like that. Yeah. Imagine somebody like a disciple.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that was the time era of Dickens, so that was probably like a thing that people...
Yeah. No, I could absolutely see that. Have you ever been to Disneyland in Halloween time? No? I've been
I want to go so bad, bro.
Been once, but I think I was too young to really appreciate it.
We should go this year. That's what we should do for my birthday, since I didn't have a party.
Okay. Yeah, we can.
You got until October to save up, like, what, 200?
200.
I think it's 200 for, what, the park hopper?
I could save 200 by October. My mom and dad were talking about it. I think it's like stupid expensive now because what they do, according to my dad, I don't know how true this is, but what my dad said was that Disneyland's doing this thing now where it's $72-ish for a day pass ticket.
Okay.
But you have to buy a 3-day pass. So it's like 72 times 3, whatever the hell that is.
210? Is that what that is?
I mean, I could find it if you give me.
Yeah. 210.
210.
$210.
You care if I No.
But it's a 3-day.
It is 3-day, but
But you would have to stay down there.
You'd have to go
And
every time, or else it would be such a waste of money.
That sucks. They don't include like Fast Pass. I do it for Fast Pass.
I don't know.
I do it for Fast Pass.
Fast
and only
Pass
go
is
one
such
day.
an underestimated thing. I feel like when I was a kid,
I feel like
I did
you need
not
it.
appreciate
I
it.
feel like you need it now.
Yeah.
I will pay the extra money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I will pay the extra money. Because I will not sit in Space Mountain for like 3 hours, bro. I won't do it.
Imagine being able to go to Disneyland again
and go on every ride
and not have a experience like the last time.
Oh,
God, I mean, it was so bad last time.
in October, bro.
Halloween, man.
And they have Star Wars, and they have
Marvel.
Avengers.
Yeah. Dude, there's so much we haven't seen yet. You've been on you've been on Guardians, right? Yeah. That one was fun.
Dude, we went on Guardians like 5 times.
I'm honestly surprised. The fact that it was a screen, it looked like I was actually looking into an actual like a window, you know?
Were we not? Wait, was it?
It was, there weren't
top,
no
wasn't
real
it?
actors up there. That was all a screen. It definitely didn't have Chris Pratt just standing at the top. Hey guys, welcome to Disney, you know?
I mean, at the very top, you don't look out?
No, you look out. No, that's different. I'm talking when you would go up and down and you'd see like the Guardians fighting aliens and stuff.
Got it.
That looked real to me.
Yeah,
like it
real.
looked like I was actually looking through it rather than looking at a monitor.
That makes sense. Yeah, dude. Especially for the Star Wars one.
Dude, their animatronics have been getting so crazy. Like that Rocket Raccoon animatronic, the thing they use for the Spider-Man swing. I mean, it's really impressive.
The Spider-Man one is pretty cool. It just like looks so real.
Have you seen the footage of it breaking?
Falling
and hitting the side of the building?
Dude, like scar some little kids for life, bro.
Spider-Man? Is he
Done.
okay?
Donezo. That man's gone, bro. He's gone. Oh, man. Well, speaking of Disney.
Okay.
It's not Disney, but it's HBO.
HBO.
The Last of Us.
I loved it. And I feel like there's a bit we can get into with this because I feel like there's such a divided crowd because there's the people who played the game, people who didn't, people who, whether or not they did, whether they either hate the show or love the show, and I just like Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal.
I think they were really good together.
They were really good. Have you seen videos of them like
yeah, they just look
being
like
themselves and they're just like best friends?
Yeah.
I love that.
Here's my thing. I like it. I don't know how I feel about the way Bella Ramsey
say it.
Just
say it. You're one of those people.
God. But like, you get over it. You do get over it. You get over it.
Like it's so
because
hard.
she plays the role so well.
She plays it amazingly.
I just kind of forgot about it after a while. But even my mom and grandma kept bringing it up.
Oh, did they watch it?
Yeah, we all watched it together.
You know, Becca.
Besides the first 2 episodes, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, Becca watched it all by herself. I didn't even ask her to. I didn't do anything. She was just like because she's been really into Pedro recently because of how much he's been blowing up.
Good, bro.
And so just because of that, she started watching the show, and then she fell in love with it. It's happening again.
Because it is beautiful. It's such a good show. Like, for once, now that I know they can make a successful Last of Us show, they need to make a Red Dead one, bro.
Dude, Red Dead would be so good.
Could you imagine?
They're making a God of War show. If they're making a God of War, just give me Red Dead, honestly.
Just give me Red Dead. And it would be 2.
Oh my God! But what would you take? You would start with 2 then?
Yeah.
That's what you would want.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Start with 2 because you need Arthur.
Dude, honestly, if
could
the
you
fool,
imagine having
if the
it
fool who
not
plays
having
Arthur lost a little bit of weight, he would
play
look
him.
actually a lot like Arthur. He's a
he
little.
Could do. I'm pretty sure if they offered
he's
him
not
the money,
fat.
I'm pretty sure if they offered him the money, he would get cut to play Arthur.
I wonder if honestly what they would actually do is the thing they did with Last of Us.
They could literally do it episode by episode because they do
the
chapter 1.
Yeah,
they could go by episode.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah,
dude, like the whole
and there's
one
enough.
whole
There's
episode
like what,
of them
like
on the
12?
island.
Isn't there 12? They could just do a 12 episode season.
Okay, before we keep going on this, I just have a question about like your opinion. Do you wish that TV shows nowadays still had like
20 episodes?
the
Yes.
22 to 26 episode run? I kind of want it.
I
If it was a
do,
good
but if
show,
you're going by an hour, it's like hard.
it's hard, but I feel like, God, back.
Think of how much filming that would be. 26 hour-long episodes?
But compared to 9, I mean, at least give me like 12 to 15 episodes, you know?
15? I could be down for. I think Riverdale, I think theirs are 45 minutes and they're still, I think, 20 episodes.
Actually, I would take that. I would take bumping the episodes down to 40s and then just doing more episodes.
The only problem is like if you have a block that's like 30 minutes, it's like, dude, you're only getting like 19, 20 minutes of actual footage after commercials.
But that's the thing.
So it's
Commercials
like, dude,
are slowly dying
if
nowadays.
you could just do 40-minute no commercial, like if the episode was like an hour.
Well, because
But realistically, there's only
think
40.
about HBO. Like they have commercials, but that doesn't affect the actual runtime of the episode. That just pops up.
Yeah.
So I feel like
because I think HBO is more expensive. That's why.
no, yeah, absolutely.
Like you would have to charge the price. Same with Hulu. I mean, you pay more, you get no ads.
We talked in a previous episode about the Netflix change to their passwords.
Has anything happened?
I don't think so. I heard a couple days after we made the podcast that they were going to do something different because of all the backlash.
They better.
But they were still going to try and implement something like where you have to keep reminding it that it's you or something like that. But I don't know how true that is still.
They just need to stop.
They really do.
Like,
if they want
leave it
any chance of
alone,
staying
man.
on the charts, then they need to not do that.
Yeah, because everyone's already switching it. Everyone's switching to Hulu because you can just keep adding packages.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's like you can run everything off of just one
Yeah.
app, and they're smart because it's Disney.
It's true.
It's literally Disney because they own it. Like,
Yeah, isn't there a pack now where you can get like ESPN,
ESPN, Disney, and Hulu. That's the
Yeah.
pack I have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have Hulu Premium, but I don't know if we have. So that gives us like live TV. We don't even have cable anymore.
Dude.
We got rid of it.
Yeah, because live TV is so much worth it.
Yeah.
So much more worth it. Like,
Yeah, no, I agree.
is that how you? Yeah, that's how you say that. Right?
Is more worth
Is
it. Yeah,
way more worth it.
I guess. Yeah, I don't see.
Dog, I don't know, man.
No, but sorry to go back to Last of Us though. One thing I thought that show did incredibly well was the what's the word for it? The not CGI. What's the opposite of that?
Where they went into actual location and CGI'd over it.
That, but I'm
That was
talking
impressive.
what I was gonna say was their makeup for the monsters, the clickers
Yeah.
and the bloaters and all that. They were
It was
some
real.
of the
It was like the real-
best. There's a word for it, and I can't remember, but it was the best makeup I've seen in a while, especially comparing it to like the
Visual
actual
effects
game.
makeup.
Visual effects, practical. Sorry, there's CGI and then there's
Oh.
practical effects.
Yeah.
So practically made, suits and costumes. I mean, they look great. I actually heard that the bloater episode, they had a fool in a whole bloater costume, but because it was so big, the mobility was a little off, so they couldn't do as much. So that one actually had to be replaced with CGI.
I wouldn't have
But
noticed. It was good.
I didn't notice either.
Yeah.
I loved it.
No, I think they did such a good job, and I think just Pedro Pascal was like such a perfect choice for
Oh, he was
for
great.
Joel.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because you always think of Pedro as being such a fun-loving, loud, funny guy. That it's like to take someone like that and make him super serious, super to himself.
Yeah.
Very in his show and everything was a very interesting but cool choice.
As
yeah.
as someone who's played the game completely, one thing I actually think I liked better in the show than I did the movie or the game was the scene with Henry and Sam at the end where they
made him deaf.
Well, that alone was a great choice. That made it way more like, oh my God, are they actually going to get out of here?
Yeah.
Like, it made him way more
Yeah.
suspenseful. But no, like the end scene where, spoilers if you haven't seen the game or the show, Sam is his name?
Yeah.
Gets bit, turns infected, attacks Ellie, and Henry has to make a quick decision and kill his brother, which
Yeah.
ultimately ends in him popping himself. Pink. Pink.
Yeah. Dunzo.
The acting in that scene,
Oh.
I loved it way better than the game. And, like,
Yeah.
just Bella's face, like, just the hesitant.
Because it was real. It was literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
No, I think it was like. Because for someone who didn't get up that far in the game, I didn't know that was going to happen. I mean, I knew of them, but I didn't
know that
he was going to
both die.
Yeah, I didn't know that was going to happen. So I think it just was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, no reaction time. Just like, I cannot believe. Like, I don't know. I think she just played it so perfect.
And you know what the difference is to me, I feel like, is in the game, Ellie says something like, when he kills himself, I think she says something like, oh my gosh. And she's like all scared and frightened. But like in the show, she doesn't say anything.
Just silent.
She's
just straight silent.
And and the camera doesn't pan away or cut or anything. It stays there for a few seconds. So you can see the feeling of her seeing it and having to comprehend it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that scene so much, man.
Were you just going to call me by my regular name?
No, I actually didn't, but I heard how it sounded like that too. I don't know what I was going to say, but it wasn't Brent.
I was like,
but then it came out as man.
How would it be like? So how do you feel, Joey, about
Joey.
Sounds so formal.
How do you feel?
Should be
tubby?
calling you Sir.
Sir
Joseph.
Sir Joseph.
My name is Brentison Ford.
Brentison Ford.
Yeah. Like Harrison Ford.
My name's Hank.
Hankrin.
Hank.
Like Franklin, but Hankrin.
Hank Madison. That's my name now.
You have 2 first names?
Yep. Hank Madison.
John Smith. The most basic white name ever in creation.
Oh, man.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I freaking...
What was your favorite part of the show?
The Last of Us. Oh.
Do you have a favorite part?
Yeah, I do, actually. It's kind of fucked up when I say it, but, like, it was a pretty good...
Okay.
I loved when Ellie shot that fool in the back, and all you heard was, I can't feel my legs.
Oh.
And he was like, I can't move. And I think seeing the fear, like, whoever they got to play him did a phenomenal
really
job
well.
of, like, the fear aspect.
I didn't
that,
realize
like, could
he
you
was
imagine?
a teenager. Joel says in a different episode when he's talking to Tommy that the fool that he killed at the end that Ellie shot was like 14 or 15 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't catch that. I thought he was older.
Everybody be looking not their age anymore, man.
Well, that's a whole podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. But, yeah, I think that was probably my favorite part.
Really?
To, like, because could you imagine, like, that being you? Like, you're just out here fighting to survive. You hear, brah! And you just fall to the ground. And you don't know why you fall to the ground. Because you don't feel any pain. You don't feel anything. And you just roll yourself over and you just can't, like...
Telling him that he just wants to talk to his mom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know it sounds brutal to say it's a favorite scene, but that was pure terror.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think he just played that role so well. Whoever that was.
No.
Whoever that was, if we're big enough for you to see it, man, you killed that role.
For as little as he's in the show, I also really like the guy who played Tommy. Tommy was
a really good choice.
Actor. Yeah.
Want to know who he could play?
Who?
He could have played Nathan Drake.
Ooh.
The brother. The older brother. Was it Nate? No, it's not Nate. Sam.
Yeah. No, he could play Sam. He
could play him in Uncharted 4. Is it 4? Yeah. Is it 4?
Where
they find him, find out he's in jail,
Uncharted
still alive.
4.
Dude, he could
the guy
play him
who plays
perfect.
Nathan though, he plays in Last of Us. He actually has a role in Last of Us, in the game.
Really?
In the game,
who voice acts him?
Mm-hmm. The guy who voices Nathan Drake voices a character in Last of Us. Can you guess who it is? I bet you won't. It is a very prominent character
in the game. So he
not very
voice
prominent.
Acts in the game?
Yes, he voice acts in the game. He plays a character that you run into. It's not like a character that's throughout the whole game. It's like someone you actually run into for a segment of the game.
Is that person in the show?
Mm-hmm. Had a whole episode about them.
Them?
Him.
No way. Is it Bill or Frank? Is it one of them?
No.
Oh,
no,
I was gonna say, I was like, you're lying.
No,
what?
that would be crazy. No,
That'd
he
be
played
insane.
the cannibal dude. He played in the game. He played the guy who kidnaps Ellie and like almost kills her, and then yeah. I didn't know that until I saw the show.
The priest guy?
The priest guy, yeah. He played the guy who plays Nathan Drake, which I wish I remembered his name.
No way. I would have
mhm.
never.
I didn't know either, because his voice is so different. In the game, I know you never got to that part, but in the game, he's very
I
like
played the
breathy.
I watched the watch.
Oh, you
the-
watched a bit of it.
The playthroughs.
Yeah.
Sorry,
he's
I
very,
know.
like,
I just had a
breathy, and
stroke
he
right
kinda
now.
talks like this or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like,
what?
it doesn't sound anything like him. It's so weird.
That's insane.
Fun fact
dude,
for everybody.
I love the Uncharted.
Uncharted's a great
really
game series.
I want to play through all of them because I
So
only
do I.
have 4.
Yeah, same.
But it's like I want to play through all of them. I've watched all the playthroughs, and it's such a good.
We should
Such
have
a
an
good
episode
story.
in the
Such a
future
good
about
story.
video games, like where we break it down, what makes it good, what makes.
I think our first one needs to be Red Dead.
Ooh,
I think we need
Yeah.
to go through
break down everything about it.
episode by episode and just dissect the whole thing. Make it like a 2-parter or something.
That'd be fun.
Like,
Yeah, I'd be down.
yeah, I think that would be a really cool one. Cause that's probably one of my favorite video games ever
I
made.
agree.
Just story. It's such a good story, bro.
Dude, I had
Rockstar
no
was
idea.
on it.
When I first played it on my own, I was really late to the game. And so I remember thinking that, like, when I first played it, I had this idea in my head about it, which was that, it's a cowboy game. It's whatever. I'm probably going to like it or enjoy playing it, but it's not going to be GTA.
That was
I
honestly,
was so wrong.
I felt the same way.
prefer Red Dead way more than GTA 5's story.
100%.
Even though that's a great story, like they do such a great job at pacing it and making you really connect to every character individually. You really do feel like a whole family by the end of it all.
You want to know what I think it is?
What?
I think the reason why it's so capturing is because the little things that you hate about every other game, you love. And what is that? The cutscenes. They made the cutscenes so real
Mm-hmm.
and so fluid with
Yeah.
the actual gameplay that I didn't mind. I didn't skip a
No.
single cutscene.
I didn't either. No, yeah.
And I think that's what it is. I think you have gotten people hooked to a game when they're just like, I need to know what happens. I
Mhm.
played none of the exterior things in the game when I played my first time through.
if any
Because I was
game
so captured.
felt like playing a movie, that one is probably the closest one.
100%.
Like where you're just captivated. You want to know, like you're like
I
attached
need
to
to
all.
know what
Yeah.
happens. I need to know what's gonna happen.
And then at the
And
end,
especially like I wasn't late to the game. I got
oh
Red
my God,
Dead
I can't imagine.
very like early
hmm
into when it was released. So there were no playthroughs. There was no I know this guy coughing on Arthur Morgan is gonna kill him.
Yeah, it's
So
so
you know how
subtle and
insane
so-
it is to go through that your first time and you're like, dude, is this colored? Like he looks like
And yeah, that's another
different.
thing.
Like, he
Even
looks
without
different.
cutscenes,
What is it?
they do
Like-
very subtle things, like where you're just walking in town, you're
he
doing a
sweats
side
more.
mission,
He
starts
sweats
sweating,
more. Your
he
character starts
starts
sweating more.
the progression of his coughing is even
Yeah.
even
Even through the
exponential.
gameplay, you can hear him.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it starts like that, but then by the end, again, not
Full
even
coughing,
in cutscenes,
full
it's just
coughing.
and he's like, oh,
And the fact that they affected your stamina as well and affected
Mhm.
like
yeah,
that kind of stuff. Like you got tired way faster when he started getting worse. Like, oh my,
Red
dude,
Dead. Do
The
I
fact
want
that
to
you have
say it?
interactive hair. I mean,
Does
you
Red
watch
Dead
your hair
have the
grow.
best story of any game? Can we say that? Oh, but I'm a big fan of God of War, but
But the
I
story
feel like-
does not. The story's there, but it's not
It-
that
it doesn't-
original.
no.
It's taking characters It's taking Norse mythology and
Yeah,
just going off of
yeah,
that. This is
no,
like
that's
its
true.
own original story.
Yeah. That's a
Red
good point.
Dead
Yeah.
and Red Dead 2. Like,
And you know what's even weirder? I didn't know anything about the first Red Dead game. Honestly, I thought it was kind of like the Uncharted games where it's like it's just something that happened and that nobody really cares about it, but after finishing the game, I really wanted to know everything that happened in the first game, you know,
and then
because
you start watching playthroughs
Yeah.
and talks about that, and you're like, for an old
because
game, that's really
Dutch
good.
comes back in the first game, which I didn't like. I can't imagine playing the first game and knowing nothing about Dutch.
And then 2 coming out, and you're like, oh, okay, 2. Who's Arthur Morgan? That's
Yeah.
weird. Like, that's not
Well,
Jack. Like, that's like, because you would expect it would be
Yeah.
Jack, because he's the one that comes back and everything.
yeah,
But you're like, oh, who's this Arthur Morgan?
Arthur
and then you
Morgan.
read, and they're like, save John Marston. What the heck? So
Mhm.
John's in this? That's weird. And
Mhm.
then you realize, oh, that's how he gets the scars on his face.
Yep.
It's from wolves.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Then you start playing through, but you're like, I'm not going to play as this fool. I'm just Arthur. Who the hell's Arthur Morgan?
Yeah, it almost
And then
sets
you
it up
get
to make you
attached
think
to
that
this fool, and you're like, dude, what the heck? I wonder what happens. Why is he not in Red Dead 1
Yep.
and then dies?
that end
And then
scene.
dies?
I feel like I know there's a couple endings, but I feel like the ending on the hill, where you look out over the sunset, has got to be like
If
one
you
of
get
the
that ending.
Yes, that's what I'm saying though. That's the best one in my opinion because I was almost in tears.
You were I was in
was-
tears. I don't care, bro.
I was so sad. Like
That was
him saying
back
goodbye
when-
to the horse, being like, "You really served me well. Thank
If
you
you
for
get that
help-"
ending.
If you get that ending, I know,
See,
I
that's
know,
dude. That's the
God,
thing. See, that's the thing about the game.
It's
That's
such
so
a good game.
Yeah, if you're a good guy, and you care for your horse, bro, you get the cool endings.
Yep.
But you don't get shot down and die. But like,
Yeah.
wanna know what's crazy? Like, Red Dead has unlocked a key memory for me for some reason.
Okay.
So back when I had the game, because it was so long ago,
Mm-hmm.
garage didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I played the whole game in the living room.
Wow.
And I remember it got to the point where I couldn't play the game until my mom got home because she was so interested
In seeing what
in
happened.
what the story was.
Really?
Yeah. She had walked in, I think, on like the second episode or what. I call them episodes. They're not episodes, but chapters
Chapter,
or
yeah.
whatever. But she walked in on the second chapter right when you get to that place outside of Valentine.
Mhm.
And she was like, what's this movie? And I was like, no, it's a game.
It's a video
and
game.
she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, this is Red Dead 2. And she's like what? And I was like, yeah, like, watch. It's literally like a movie. And because since that was my first playthrough, I didn't play anything on the outside. I played
just played
straight
story.
through
Yeah,
the story. And then I
So that
decided,
kept
all
her
right, my
hooked.
second time I'm going to play through it with everything.
Dude, I wish my parents were like that. My
So I
dad,
did that, and she literally sat down and watched through the whole thing, and we
Dude.
both sat there, and we were both like, because I got the good
Mm-hmm.
first ending, with the horse. I tried to keep the same horse throughout the entire game, but it was
couldn't.
so hard. It was so hard. I was like, nah, I gotta upgrade. So, I upgraded horses, but I upgraded horses like very early in the game, so I kept the same horse almost. So I think I upgraded on the 4th chapter, and I just kept
Dude,
the same
I'm so
one.
sad. My first playthrough ever of that game, my horse got hit by a train, and I didn't know how. I didn't have anything to help him.
And you didn't have
and
horse insurance?
And I
or
wasn't
what?
smart. Nope. And I
Nope.
wasn't smart enough to just back out of the game and go to an old save. Because if I would have gone to an older save of mine,
You
I would have
would've-
been like
you would've-
chapters back, and I was like, oh. And
Yeah.
so I had to accept losing it.
That is tragic. That's tragic.
No, I wish my dad was like your mom in that case, because my dad, he likes games, but
Yeah.
he actually has a very, I feel like it's a hot take. Maybe it's not for his generation, but he doesn't like games with story. Like he likes to
Interesting.
get to the point of the game.
Okay.
So
Like he's a duck game guy.
duck game, like he just
Game
wants to
beast.
shoot. You
Yeah.
know, he doesn't want to sit there and understand why you have to shoot the. He just wants to shoot it.
I think I can understand. his generation of gaming. I think it
Yeah.
was more like that. So
Yeah, no, and that's why.
gaming now,
get it.
gaming now is like an art, bro. I mean,
Mhm.
I completely understand why you're paying like $60, $70, $80 for a video game.
And that's why I love
Like-
games like Last of Us 2 had a great story.
Haven't even played it, dog.
Dude.
Haven't even watched the playthroughs.
Being able
'Cause
to
I told
see
myself.
the graphic level of Last of Us 2 is just phenomenal to me. Like Red Dead's good, but okay, Red Dead is far superior when it comes to scenery,
Oh yeah,
trees, plants, animals, all of that. It's perfect.
dude.
But like,
could you imagine if it was full immersive sound, like
You know,
2023 immersive sound, but on Red Dead?
you know, Last of Us
I think
2
two.
or 1, 2
I think 2 is immersive
has like
sound.
a bunch of different options for sound. Like if you want to have, like you can have, if you
Full
have
surround.
headphones, you can change it to like being just the 2 left ears, or you can have it being surround. TV, you can have it be like kind of adaptive, or you can have just both sides or
Yeah,
one. Like
yeah.
there's a whole bunch of.
Dude, adaptive sound. Oh my gosh, if we could just set up the surround sound in here. We just need to drill the holes. We need to figure out how to.
My family used to have
We
surround
need to
sound
do it. But
in the
could you
living
imagine
room.
with this, bro, with how insane it is set
Dude,
up
it
right
would be
now?
crazy.
Having full immersive sound in here, bro, where it's just
That'd be
the
so
walking
cool.
changes, bro. That would be insane. Yeah, no, dude. Freaking video games, man.
Yeah, we're geeking out about it
Video
now. Maybe we don't
games,
even have to
man.
have an episode.
It's
'cause
just crazy.
I could talk about that for hours.
Yeah, I mean, and especially because I feel like you appreciate voice acting so much
Mhm.
and everything because you're an animator and editor and stuff
People
like that.
still to this day don't give voice actors enough credit.
Dude, I mean, the voice acting again on Red Dead is just like, I mean, I felt like they were dying, bro. Like, I really,
Yeah.
I felt the pain.
Did Red Dead have what's it called? I feel like my camera's moved a bit, but whatever. Did Red Dead have the what is it called? Motion capture? Do you know?
I feel like it had to have.
Cause
Right?
Because don't you
I
think?
don't
Because that's a
know.
whole other
I don't
level of
remember.
acting. Is like Red Dead.
Well, and the
not just
cutscenes are
Red Dead.
so long with action parts. I feel like they had
Yeah.
to have acted some of those, right? I
Oh,
feel like
for
they
sure.
just had to have acted some of those out.
No, I think they had to, and that's another thing that I think is the problem with people on voice actors, how they're not real actors. They're completely real actors nowadays. Most of the time nowadays, if
Yeah.
you're voicing unless it's like a TV show or something,
Most things are CGI.
most video games are literally the people doing not only the voices, but actually sitting there in a mocap suit.
Detroit,
Yeah, dude, Detroit is a great example. Detroit's also a
dude,
good game.
I'm
Oh, God.
so glad you got me on that wave. You just told me about it. You were like, "Oh, yo, that's supposed to be really good. It's supposed to be like a
Mhm.
like an
They still
interactive
had-
thing." And we literally sat in here and played almost the whole thing through, didn't we? Together?
Wait a minute.
Was it Detroit or was it Until Dawn we did? I know we did with Until Dawn.
No, we did Did we do Detroit? I don't remember now. No, I don't think we did Detroit
Oh,
together.
yeah, we did because you played on your own, remember? You played one of the characters.
Oh, did I finish it? I don't know if I finished it.
I don't think you finished it. I think
Yeah.
I finished it because I got too, like, antsy. Oh, I think you went back to college.
That's what it was.
And I was like, I can't wait for this one.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, I mean, I don't want to keep we can keep talking if you want, but we're at a solid point right now and I don't want to keep dragging it on. Didn't you have something you wanted to talk about with your job? Didn't you have a job update? I don't know if that's still something you want to talk about, but
Nah,
All
we'll
right.
save that for another time.
well,
Another time.
in that case, I mean, new episode. We did
New
it.
episode. It's been a minute.
Maybe we'll start coming back to this weekly if you feel like doing it this way, we can do it weekly still if you want.
Yeah.
And up until we get like the laptop or something or the studio, because that's another thing. We're still trying to potentially do the studio like we've talked about in past episodes. But
I'm down to clown.
all right, brother.
Every day
Well,
you're in town.
Thank you for another cool episode. Thank you guys for watching. It was
Thank you
fun.
for coming to the Woodsmen Podcast. We're your hosts, Brent Murphy.
And Joey Rucker.
Later, Gators.
Bye.